point is that for those who are veterans, is that the key point that I want to remind you when you share about the IUL, right, Index Universal Life, what are the key takeaways that you need to let people know? Because this business is always about helping families, right? And I want you to write this down if you are new here too. You want to do something called what? Mission before commission, right? Mission before commission. This business is about helping family to achieve their financial goal. If you want to become very big, if you want to make lots of money, right? But first thing you have to do is to make sure you take care of other people's financially well, then your financial will be well taken care of, right? So that's what I'm going to share with you today. So anyway, so let's start with this, right? So this might be a picture for a lot of us, right? Beginning, 13 years ago when I was engineering, right? I was young and I was making great income. However, I have no idea how money works. Everybody who has, feeling like this, right? I was, doing well, but then got lots of headaches, right? I have no idea how money works in the US. Do you put your money in a bank, right? Obviously not, right? Or do you buy stocks or buy real estate, or do you buy annuity, right? Or do you buy life insurance, or do you maximize your 401k or IRA? It's a very complex questions that I asked the cubicle, my coworkers, and they have no idea. So they asked their cubicle, next door, and nobody has no ideas. So therefore, right, when somebody introduced me to this business where we have a platform and learn about finances, I was so excited. That's why 13 years ago, I come here part-time basis, just want to learn. But eventually, when my part-time income was slowly creeping up to my full-time income, this is when you can make the transition. And that's what I did many years ago, right? So anyway, from these headaches, right, and that's why I want to introduce you a very powerful book. This book is called The Power of Zero. In my opinion, this is like the Bible of the financial planning. So if you have not read this book yet, or if you not have seen this yet, right, I encourage you to buy it from Amazon. I think I just checked yesterday, the hardcover, not the soft one, right? The hardcover, the price yesterday was $11 or something like that, right? So it was very, very cheap, right? $11. For $11, you can get this book and learn about how to get the zero tax bracket and transform your retirement. This book is forwarded by a very, very famous CPA, right? His name is Ed Slop. I was having the privilege to actually meet him in person, but he does a lot of public broadcast channels, on PBS, right? He does a lot of financial planning classes, right? And then, he showcased on different tax strategies. And then one of the things that he shared is he endorsed this book, and he talks about that life insurance is probably one of the best way to put our money in for extra, power on your retirement, right? And this book by David McKnight, it pretty much combines everything and showcase to you about it. But in case if you don't like to read a lot, right, I'm gonna give you some synopsis for this book. This is all the 10 chapters there, right? But then beginning the very first chapter, you always want to start with a why. Why are we reading this book? Because in the US, we pay a lot of taxes, right? We pay sales taxes, we pay income taxes, we pay capital gain taxes, right? And then for those who are in California, we have to pay the federal and the state taxes. Well, we have to pay the gas tax. We have to pay, estate tax. There's tax all over our places, right? So one thing they talk about in the first chapter is talk about a gathering storm, right? So this basically, one of the pages it highlights is about our tax history. Why do we even care about paying less taxes, right? It's because our history, the U.S., we actually do not have a good history on our tax rates, right? So this page on page 10, I actually scanned this page out already, right? This is our graph on the highest top marginal tax rate, the history in the U.S., right? So it started with beginning, right? World War I started. Well, our tax rate is still less than 10%. It was maybe about 7 to 8%, right? And that was in 1914 when World War I starts. And everybody knows when we're in a war, right? The government needs lots of money, so eventually they need to increase the tax rates. So the tax rate went up all the way to, from 40, 50, 60, right? And all the way to maybe to almost 80%, right? And then when the World War II or World War I ended, that was at 1918, we are a little bit above 70%. But eventually the tax rate went down to about 20 something. And then guess what? The Great Depression happens in 1929. And not to mention when the Great Depression happens, World War II started. So we have the tax hike went up, right, to 80%. World War II started at 1939. And then it went as high as 93, 94%. Can you imagine? And by the way, this tax hike did not end like 1 year or 2 years. It went on an extended period of time. You can see that in here, right? 90% all the way until 1960. Can you imagine 1930 to 1960, right? About 30 years. 30 years about one of the highest tax bracket in the U.S. history. 30 years. That's one third of a person's lifetime, right? Or, right? That's a long time, right? Right? Or half of person's lifetime. That's a long time. Eventually, the tax went down, right? By the way, when World War II ended, we are at about 80 something percent still, right? And then until Ronald Reagan hits in 1981, that's when we're about 50%. And then right now we're at 2018, right? When the Trump administration, we're about 37%, right? But eventually, this with the Biden administration, we should come back to 39 or 40, and then who knows what the tax rate it will be. So the whole idea is telling you that we don't have a great history on our tax bracket, right? But then are we gonna have less taxes in the future? And the author is saying that probably not, right? We probably will never go back to like 20% something, right? Never going back to the 10% something, but we will be lucky that we don't go back to 50 to 60 or 70%. So that's why it talks about that we have a storm coming in because we have a tremendous amount of U.S. debt to different countries or to ourselves, right? So we have lots of debts going on, and we have right now we have the so-called inflation might be coming up, right? So we gotta figure something out. So that's why we gotta make sure that we have a good defenses on our taxes, right? Then it has the chapter 2, 3, and 4 talk about the taxable bucket, the tax deferred bucket, and finally the tax-free bucket. And I don't personally like to talk about tax-free because you do pay taxes, but then I like to call it tax advantage. For this 3 chapter, right, the way I like to showcase my clients, and because the topic is about the IUL presentations, right? So I don't like to show my client in terms of for buckets, I want to show them in terms of triangles, right? So 3 buckets equal to 3 triangles here. So here is the U.S. tax structure. In the very beginning, we have something called the tax now, and then I call it tax later, and then I call this the tax advantage. So in fact, there's 3 different ways for us to get taxes in the United States, right? So for our income taxes, right? So for this tax now, what does that mean? In the beginning, when I make money, every single year we make money, right? Whether you make whatever income you are or whatever large that you are, right? You always have to pay income taxes no matter what. So every single year I pay income taxes, but but all the money I grow, right? When I pay income taxes, right? And after tax money, when I grow my money, every single time when I grow and I realize my growth, I gotta pay, we call the capital gain tax, right? So that's the tax now vehicle. But what is the tax later vehicle, right? Is that I don't pay tax right now. But in the future, when I take out my income, right? When I withdraw it, when I take out it, right? I gotta pay income tax no matter what. That is called the tax later vehicle, right? But then in the end, before when I was an engineer, right? I have no idea that such thing exists, but there is something called the tax advantage. Tax advantage, right? Is that where I put my money in right now, right? And then I do have to pay tax right now. But after I pay the income taxes for the rest of my life, doesn't matter how I grow my triangle and how I take out my money for retirement, I never ever have to pay tax ever again. The person who introduced this to me, shared this with me, right? The first thing I said to her was, is this legal, right? And then she said, this is absolutely legal stuff. We are no a monkey business. We do get our license, financial license here, right? And there are a lot of providers and company offers tools like this. And this is where I love about our business, right? We bring the Wall Street knowledge into the main street. Let me repeat that. We bring the Wall Street into the main street. So we leave no family left behind, and we let everybody know on how finance works, right? But let's talk about the Tax Now vehicle, right? So there are several few vehicles we have here, right? We have the bank account, we have the stocks, if we have the mutual funds, we have the bonds, and if we buy and sell real estate, and we have the real estate here, right? So this are virtually about five vehicles here. So like I say, the idea is that I make money, right? So when I make money, I pay I pay income taxes. And then if I reinvest in stocks, reinvest in bonds or mutual funds or in real estate, and I grow, I realize my gain, right? In that case, I got to pay the capital gain tax. So this will be the tax now, right? And by the way, if I'm going very fast, I'm going very fast right now, right? So if I'm going too fast, right? That's why you gotta meet up with your trainer, the one who introduced you to the business, or you gotta come to the classes more often, because this business is about learning, right? And learning is about repetitions. There's no way you can learn if you can learn if you can see it the first time and memorize everything. My God, you are a genius, right? But the idea for human beings, we gotta see this all the time, right? Just like watching a movie. So if I'm going too fast, it kind of went over your head, right? Don't worry, we have classes like this all the time. So I encourage you to come here. That's why you're here, to learn new information and improve your finance every single day. Okay, but anyway, that's the Tax Now vehicle. But what is the tax later, right? This is very simple. For those who work, right, we have W-2. In that case, if we have W-2, then your company most likely have something called the 401k, right? Or right? So you're sorry, let me reverse that, right? There's some vehicle we call the IRA, called the individual retirement account, right? That's the IRA. You can go to the bank, you can go to Fidelity, JP Morgan, right? Open an account like this, you can save for your own money, right? That's the IRA account. Or if you work for somebody, you have the 401k, sponsored by your company, or you can have something called the SEP IRA if you have your own business, right? Or pension, or something called an annuity. But this vehicle, virtually you don't pay tax right now. In the other word, it's called tax deferred. But when you take out the income, right, at past 59 and a half years old, you gotta pay income taxes no matter what. The more money you take out, the more income tax you have to pay, right? So that's what we have, the tax later vehicle. But if you ask me, I personally, right, like the tax advantage vehicle, right? So I pay my tax right now, but for the rest of my life, doesn't matter how my money will grow, I never ever had to pay tax ever again, right? What kind of vehicle do we have here? One of them you hear probably a lot is called the Roth IRA. But the thing with Roth IRA is you can save only $6,000 per year. Maximum $6,000 per year. That's literally nothing. If you save $6,000 a year, you do it for 10 years, and assuming the market is flat, that's $60,000. How can you retire with $60,000? No way, right? No way. So therefore, Roth IRA, you cannot put so much money inside. And on top of that, if you make too much money, if you as a single person, or if you're dual income earner, if you make too much money, right, six-figure income plus, then the government actually phase out or disqualify you to save in Roth IRA. But that's one of the vehicle we have in tax advantage. The other one we have is in Roth 401k, right? This is by company sponsor. If your company sponsor Roth 401k and 401k, congratulations, right? But most company, they will only sponsor one, not both, right? So only the most high-tech company will have both, right? The Amazon, right? The Google, the Microsoft, the Facebook, right? They have both of this. So, and you can choose which one. But for most of us, if you were in a middle-sized or a small-sized company, most likely you only have the regular 401k. What else do we have here? Municipal bonds, right? This is the government bonds, except the government bonds, you know what? The interest rate is very, very low, and you have to hold it for a long time. Sometimes you have to wait until 20 to 30 years until the bonds mature, then you can realize your gain. So it takes too long, right? Then the other way we have is the 529 plan, which is the college planning, right? Sounds great. 529 is college planning, but it's for college purpose only. You cannot use it for any other purposes. Therefore, might not be a great vehicle for you to put extra money inside. So the person who showed me this, right, and then asked me the question, Kevin, in that case, do you think the government, right, the people who got money, right, do you think the government will create a vehicle where themselves, the creator, they can shelter their money, or they can put money away in right to in some places, so they don't have to pay that much taxes? So I say absolutely, right. And guess what? That's what they did. They create a tax code called 77028 in the Internal Revenue Code, right? IRC tax code 77028. But in the other word, this is also known as what? Something called a cash value life insurance, right? 77028, also known as the cash value life insurance, is for you to get life insurance, but put money in the money inside there. You can grow your money cash, right, at a tax advantage purposes, right? So in the beginning, I thought is that you have to, the government want to shelter money, therefore they create that vehicle, right? But in the other ways, right, you can see a cup half empty or half full. The other way I want you to think about this, right, is that the government cannot force you to buy life insurance. Think about this, right? We buy car insurance. All of us, we drive. We have car insurance, right? If you drive, you have car insurance. The government forced us to buy car insurance is to insure other party. In case we are in a car accident, then the other party gets paid, right? So we are insuring the other party, right? A lot of us, we buy a house, we gotta have a home insurance, fire insurance, right? Why? Because if our house burned down, then we can pay our banks because we haven't pay off the houses yet, right? So we gotta get home insurance, right? But the thing is, though, they cannot force us to buy life insurance, because today, if Kevin dies, right, it doesn't impose to your finances. There's nothing, right? Maybe, some people will cry, will be sad. Hopefully you'll be cry, right? But it doesn't impact your finances, right? So they cannot force us to buy life insurance the way that they force us to buy car insurance or home insurance. But then, if I don't buy life insurance, if something happened to me, if I'm the breadwinner and I pass away, my family will get severely impacted. If they get impacted, then if they have no money, they're probably going to be in a welfare or in food stamps. That's not good for the government. So they will create something. The other way to think about it is why they will do something like this, right? They want to incentivize you to buy life insurance. They incentivize you, to protect your family. And one of the way they incentivize you is to give you some advantage to encourage you. And therefore, life insurance, cash value life insurance is one of the vehicle, right, that they show you, say, hey, if you buy life insurance for your family, right, we're going to give you tax break. And that's why for those who doesn't know or those who don't take advantage of this, we gotta do it today, and we gotta do it soon, right? So how does this work? How does cash value life insurance, how does the government incentivize us to save our money there so we can grow our money on the tax advantage basis, right? Let me share with you more. And by the way, this is not me saying this, right? There's articles and books. I just show you a book talks about it that dedicated about this, right? But you can also find articles online, right? This is one of the article by Fox Business News, right? Legally cutting out the taxman in retirement. Legally stuff, right? This was published in February 22nd, 2012, right? But basically, who is this taxman, right? This taxman is our Uncle Sam, right? So inside here, we talk about this life insurance, and I'm just quoting from this. I'm just making this small prints, blow this up, right? Life insurance, it has the best IRS approved. I will repeat that. IRS approved. If this is not IRS approved, this article or books like this will be shut down, right? You'll be censored. But this is approved vehicle, right? So life insurance industry has the best IRS approved retirement saving today. And most investor knows nothing about it. It is the financial industry's secret the index universal life, right? So I'm not the one saying this. There are other articles or books supporting things like this, right? And right, so how does this work? Very, very simple, right? And I want to be, before I show you the, for the future, well, here, let me show you with the futures, right? So how does IUL works? Very, very simple. It's one umbrella, right? But it has two pockets. One pocket is insurance. The other pocket is the cash value. Obviously, the insurance is protecting our families. The cash value is protecting our money, right? That's why I like to draw a big umbrella, right? Insurance is to protect our family. The cash value is protect our money, right? From the IRS, okay? So how does this works, right? Very simple. In the insurance part, of course, this is life insurance. So for life insurance, we always have something called the death benefit. What does that mean? Today, I get a policy, right? I buy, I die, the company pay. Very simple, okay? Today, I don't buy. Do I not die? No, I'm unfortunately, right? We're still gonna be dead someday, right? I die still because eventually I will be dead. If I don't buy, I die, unfortunately, nobody pays, right? So to me, I ask my clients, right? Or my clients, what is the probability us human beings will be dead someday, right? Dead someday. The probability, your answer should be, guess what? 100%. Sometimes some of my clients, they say, you know what? Probability of being dead. That sounds pretty high, right? We're going to be pretty high. I say, no. It's not pretty high. It's guaranteed. Certainly, we're going to die someday. So if it's certain, right? If it's guaranteed. See, engineers, we're very simple people, right? We might think about numbers, right? Formulas, right? But I'm a very simple person. If I know for sure I'm going to die someday, doesn't this make sense for us to get a vehicle that eventually will pay out to our family or loved one? And by the way, if you don't have a loved one, guess what? You can pay to charities, right? Like some people, right? I know churches, they buy life insurance for their pastors. So when their pastor dies, the money goes to the churches. There are so many ways to use this and leverage this, right? You got to think about this. How, when we pass away, which is guaranteed certain, how can we leave the world a better place? We always say that, right? We recycle stuff. We do, we save gases. We save water. We save whatever, right? But think about it. How can we live the life better? Is we buy a life insurance. Maybe you do charity, right? Do scholarship that you will leave money behind for somebody else, right? That's why I think life insurance is awesome, right? Death benefit. But also it has something called the terminal illness. In case something happened to me, I'm terminally ill. The doctor says I only have, 10 months to live, 9 months to live, right? Then I can also access my life insurance money. And then guess what? A lot of people will say life insurance cover our inheritance, right? Cover our heirs, right? Cover our beneficiary. It doesn't cover myself. Why do I care about this? You might get clients thinking like that, but that is the old version of the life insurance. The old version of life insurance, the dinosaur version, right? The iPhone 1. Not iPhone, right? Forget about iPhone 1. Maybe it's the old black and white Nokia phone, right? You don't use those right now, but the old life insurance only care about beneficiaries. But life insurance today, the new future, the iPhone 12, the iPhone 13, right? The Samsung Galaxy, right? Right now is talking about is they care about you and you, the insurer, right? So not only the death benefit terminal illness, but I also have what? Long-term care or chronic illness to cover myself. In case I cannot do, we call this 2 out of 6 activity of daily living. If I cannot dress myself, eat by myself, right? Walk. If I cannot go to toileting, if I pee and poo on the floor, right? All this stuff, right? If I have Alzheimer's, right? And again, today I don't have that much time to go over it in detail. So it's just about the overall view. Again, I'm going very, very fast in case you cannot catch what I'm saying. And I also talk very fast too, right? Then again, sit down with your trainer, right? And attend our classes on a regular basis. Then you will catch more stuff, right? So long-term care is important that in case if I have something like this, my body function start to fail, I can use the policy for myself to take care of myself, right? Or if I have something called a critical illness, if I have cancer, stroke, stroke, right? A heart attack, something like this. If I'm in a hospital bed or I'm in recovering center, I cannot work, right? Who's gonna feed my family? Who's gonna pay the mortgage? Who's gonna pay, for the tuition, right? Whatever. I can use the life insurance death benefit up front, so my family can get a lump sum of cash. Then my family can take care of it while I'm recovering myself. That is the very big deal, very different than health insurance. Health insurance cover your medical bills. Critical illness in a life insurance cover your daily livelihood, your daily expenses. Very important to have, right? But besides this, right, did you buy the right policy? Right, I want to share with you this, right? Talking about the feature, right? And again, I mentioned to us, right? Everybody, we are forced to buy car insurance. But what is the odds of having a car accident, right? Assuming this is 900 boxes, right? The odds based on the National Transportation Statistic Bureau, right? Of transportation statistic, right? Although it's a little bit outdated, I don't think we're gonna have more car accident before than now, right? Our cars, so to me, the data is all the same anyway, right? So the data is what? 3 in 900. Again, we all have car insurance if we drive, right? But the chance of having car accident is 3 in 900. That's 0.33%. Yet, all of us who drive, we have car insurance, okay? For those who owns a home, right? The odds of having a residential fire, you gotta buy a home insurance, right? But according to the U.S. Fire Administration, right, the odds of having a residential fire is 7 out of 900, 7 in 900, right? That's 0.77%. Yet for those who own a home, we have home insurance, okay? How about this? We have health insurance, right? Whether you have from work or you're small business owner, you buy your own, right? Doesn't matter. But what is the odds of admitted to a critical care unit that you need to access your health insurance, right? The odds is 21 in 900. That's only 2.3% based on the National Center of Health Statistic. I'm a very visual person. To me, 3,900, 7,900, 21 in 900. Yet we have car insurance, we have home insurance, and we have health insurance. But what is the odds of needing long-term care? This image blow my mind. The statistic in U.S. Health Human Services is that 630 out of 900, which is 70% of us, will go through some type of long-term care after 65 years old. Okay, so when I was having before COVID-19, I have my physical classes. I tell my students, right, or our team members, look at to your left, look at to your right, right? The odds are not in our favor. It's either them or you, because it's 70%, or both of you, right? Right now we have what? We have like almost 300 people on a phone call, right? Guess what? Statistically speaking, 70% of us, right? That's what? 300 people, 70%. That's 210 people of us will go through some type of long-term care. I'm asking these 210 people, right? Do you have long-term care? Or do you have enough long-term care? That's something to think about it, right? And if you don't, guess what? Right now, make sure you protect yourself and your family, because you don't want your family member, your kids, right? And to take care of you while they're so busy at their own life. There's just no way, right? And don't even rely on the government, right? Because people might say, oh, our Medicare, right? This government stuff, they will take care of you. The answer is yes. Right? If you're 65 years old, right, Medicare do take care of you on long-term care, but it's only the first 100 days. That's it. 3 months, and then it's gone, right? And the rest of the time, I call this yo-yo. What is yo-yo? Y-O-Y-O? You're on your own. So you gotta and after 100 days, government take care of you. The rest of the time, if you're in long-term care, you're on your own. That's why a lot of people, they spend, they make lifetime of savings, and then they, in the end, eating their money away because they don't have the proper long-term care protection. And not just to you, by the way, a lot of them are in couples, right? Husband and wife. Chances are one of them, if not both, will happen long-term care, right? And by the way, let me ask you another question, right? So technically speaking, and I hope you get this right, what is the odds of being dead someday according to the U.S. Census Bureau? Just kidding. This one, I make this up, right? Not according to Census Bureau. According to Kevin Lin, statistic, right? 900 in 900 of us will die someday. We have right now 293 of us. Guess what? 100%, 292 of us will die someday. Hopefully we live for a long time, right? But then all of us will die. So in case, why don't you buy a life insurance? Why don't you get something for you can give to your family or your loved one? That only makes sense, right? So besides that, that is about what? About the IUL, right? The life insurance on the protection side. But let's talk about, right? We have the death benefit, terminal illness, long-term care, and critical illness. But how about our cash value? Because we are doing this, right? Not only protecting our family, but guess what? The feature for today is we gotta protect our money. Finances, be a good steward about your money is also very important, right? Be responsible on your money, right? So there are some feature with the IUL. There's something called the downside protection. Downside protection. If the market goes down, I don't lose money. That is one of the biggest feature in the IUL. But also the insurance company, right? They're not dumb either. They will not let you lose money and don't give you a cap, right? So there's something called the upside potential, right? Downside protection, upside potential. And I'll give you some example later, right? And then there's something called the annual point-to-point reset. This might not make sense for new people, but I will have my next slide or my next slides to share with you, right? And then we have something called a flexible funding. And then we have something called, like I mentioned, tax advantage. So how does this work, right? So let me start by sharing with you the floor and the cap, which is the downside protection and the upside potential, right? So I'm giving you some of the main provider out there, right? We have the Prudential being around for 180 years old, very old company, right? The floor, the downside is 0. The cap is about 8.25, right? So I have two percentage by mistake, right? So what does this mean? That means that if the market go down 20%, negative 20 on the S&P 500 index, right? If it's negative 20, guess what? Do you lose 20%? No, you get 0. You don't lose money. If next year the market is negative 10.5, do you lose money? No, you still get 0. But if the market go to, let's say, 6.2%, 6.2, right? How much do you get? You get 6.2% because you are still within that range, right? But if the market goes to like 10%, guess what? You hit your ceiling about 8.25, you get 8.25%. To me, this is very generous already, right? The banks give you less than 1%. This is awesome, right? But the stocks makes you lose money. So this is a very good vehicle for people who, you know what, they don't want too conservative, right? But they don't want to gamble everything of their own, right? You want to diversify, and that's why IUL, Index Universal Life, we're in the middle ground. We give you the floor and we give you the cap, right? It's very, very generous. Sorry, but Prudential is not the only one who have policy like this, right? The other company called Pacific Life, they've been around for about 151 years old, right? On their S&P 500 account, we're looking at 0% to about 10.5% on their IULs, right? So that's with Pac Life. Nationwide is another big company out there, right? You might hear the jingle, Nationwide is on your side, right? There people they always talk about car insurance or home insurance, but guess what? They are one of the biggest provider for IULs, right? Their floor is at 0. Their cap is at 12.5, right? So what does that mean? If the market is 10, you get 10. If the market is 15, you get 12.25. That is the cap, right? Floor and the cap. And then one of my favorite company, Transamerica, they offer 0.75. So what does that mean? That means if the market go down, right, you don't get 0, you get 0.75. but yet they have one of the top cap out there. The cap is 13.75. So if the market is 15%, you get maximum of 13.75% on the index returns, right? That is the index universal life floor and the cap. Give you some example on the how the market nowadays, right? But besides this, I'm gonna give you the Transamerica to give you some example to share with you how this works, right? Very simple. Let's say today the market is, let's say January 15 of 2011, right? September 15 of 2011. Let's assume the market is at 1,000 points, right? S&P 500. I don't care the market goes up and down in the middle. All I care is up on anniversary, which is at 700, right? The September 15 of 2012. If the market go down to 700 points, in that case, right, because my floor is, let's say Transamerica, the floor, if the market loses 30%, then I will get what? I will get 0.75. I don't lose money, right? 30 to 0.75. But if the market goes up and down, right? If the market go down again to 500 point, right? September 15 of 2013. In that case, the market, and by the way, this is why the IUL shines, something called the annual point-to-point reset. I don't measure my 550 against the 1,000 point. I always measure my 550 against the year before, which is the 700 points. Always resets every single year, no matter what. So if I measure this, right, the market lost 21.5%. Guess what? I get 0.75%. I don't lose money. But if the market goes up, let's say from 550 go to 610, right? 610, in that case, the market gained 10.9%. Guess what? I also make 10.9%. I want to pause here for 1 second. Why? I want to think about this on the stock market. Let's say you buy a stock, right? Let's say the moment you buy a stock, let's say they're at 1,000 points, right? Let's say you buy a stock, right? They're at 1,000, right? If the market go up and down, right? If they're at 2014, they're at 610. If you sell your stock, are you making money or are you losing money? If you buy a stock at $1,000, right, and right now you're selling at 610, are you losing or are you gaining? The answer is you're losing money, right? You're losing money because you sell lower than what you bought, right? So, but in IUL, it doesn't matter when you buy it. So people say that, oh, Kevin, S&P 500, the market, they're pretty high right now, right? Is it a good time to go into the index universal life, S&P 500, right? I say it's always a good time. Why? Because you don't care when it's going to be locked in. If it goes down, right? If it go back up, you always make money no matter what. So give you one more example, right? If the market from 610 went to 710, that is only 100 point of growth, 100 points, right? But guess what? If I use 610 as a measuring point, in that case, that's 16.4% gain, right? From 610 to 710, that's 16.4% gain. But that represents what? 13.75 rate of return. And I just think this is awesome, right? This is one of the best vehicle. In fact, this is probably one of the best vehicle to protect yourself from inflation, right? Very, very good vehicle because it keep up with the inflation with the IUL because the market grows with the inflation. Make sense so far, right? Annual point-to-point reset. Awesome feature we have in IUL, right? And just so you know, give you some idea on the 20-year historical look back, right? How this work, right? Very simple. If I measure again year 2000 to 2001, S&P 500 lost 10.53%. Yet, if I using Transamerica, right, 0.75 to 13.75, I don't lose money. I get a floor of 0.75. Market at year 2002, because the dot-com burst, right, in Silicon Valley, market lost another 23%. Guess what? I get 0.75. 2003, whatever goes down must go back up, right? I'm in the lowest amount, and then I go back up. Just a slightly going up, I get 26.38. That's 13.75, right? And then the market goes 10.8, 8.99, 8.99, 4.69, 4.69, 11.65, 11.65, 3 point something, 3 point something. In 2008, we had a financial crisis. Market dropped 38.49%. People's 401k shrink like crazy. People even suicide in this year because they lost hope. They see no future. Their 401k, their retirement, their life saving shrinks almost half, right? 38 is almost 40. That's almost half gone. And they thought they are desperate. They're in depression and they kill themselves. So there are crazy stories like this, right? But if your money is in IUL, you don't lose money. 0.75. Market goes back up. Guess what? It's always like this. Market goes up and down, up and down, and up and down. Gain 23%, 13.75. Gain 12, you get 12. Get 1, you get 1. 11, right? That's so forth, right? 2030, right? And guess what? Last year, right? Year 2020, COVID years, right? In April and May, in May and April, the market went down, right? But overall, the market went up, right? And so in year 2020, it went up 16%, and you get 13.75. So the overall average inside here, 5.52, and the average here about what? 8.01. Consistent compounding rate of return. That's the 20 years look back, right? Hopefully this makes sense so far. And again, S&P 500 with IUL is all based on science. I can spend hours to show you how this number makes sense. I can use actuary data. I can prove it to you up and down, in and out, right? Given time. But today is a very, very short time period, right? I don't want to go over too much of my time. Therefore, I only give you a quick synopsis or quick idea how does this work. Do meet with your trainer or your SMDs, right? Your senior marketing directors to know more information if you're a very technical person, okay? But either way, hopefully I show you the protection side, right? Hopefully I show you the investment side, so the rate of return, right? The growth, right? But let's talk about another big feature, right? A few weeks ago, we have the financial aid, right? But if you are parents, if you have kids, right? Do you know that IUL is one of the very amazing vehicle, so you can save money inside and to pay for your college funding, right? You put, a supplement of your college funding to your kids, right? Right? And again, last time they cover more, right? But then if we want to get financial aid, we want to be covered, right? We got to look at what's considered on financial aid, right? There's something called the FAFSA, right? FAFSA, Free Application for Federal Student Aid. Looks something like this. This is the 2021 version. Of course, there's the 2022 version out already. But either way, they all look the same, but just the color is very different, right? So inside here, lots of pages, right? But one of the pages you will find out is in one of these pages here, right? Talks about what? Tell you, they already got government tell you what's considered as an investment, therefore you need to include, and what's considered not an investment and you don't need to include. So let me blow this up small font into a big font, right? Investment include, very simple, right? It includes real estate, but doesn't include your home. It includes rental properties. It includes trust funds, includes CDs, which is your, like in a bank, right? You include stocks, mutual funds, bonds, right? But also you have to include what? Qualifying educational benefit saving account. For example, Coverdale saving accounts or 529 college saving. So if you have money in 529, I suggest don't stop it or don't put that much money inside. Because the more you put in 529, the more you're telling the government, hey, I have money, right? Don't give me financial aid or give me less financial aid. Don't do that, right? So again, what are the other vehicles you can save money, right? Guess what? It tells you already, right? Investment that will not include. So the game already, they give you the outline. It's up to you, right? To know or you don't know, right? No, you don't know. So investment do not include, very simple, the home that you live in, don't include in that, right? The value of life insurance, the cash value. Guess what? Government, this is government material stuff, already tell you, guess what? We will not consider your cash value, the value of life insurance is your investment. So why don't we take advantage of it? Guess what? It's very simple. It's not that we don't want to, it's that we don't know. Okay, that's why if you know today, you want to be the one who spread the word, right? Let everybody knows on how to plan your finances so that they can get more financial aid, right? Or let people know maybe this might not be good vehicle, might not suitable, but you gotta tell people information is power. Everybody gotta know this stuff, right? Value of life insurance, right? Able accounts are if you're disability, right? Then you can save money like this, right? They're for disability people, right? Retirement plans, 401k, annuity, right? And why do they count your 401k? Because you're most likely when your kids go to school, you're not 59 and a half years old yet. So they don't want to count that as an investment because you cannot take they don't want you to take money out yet because before 59 and a half years old, you do get penalties. And also it's your retirement. Government don't want you to take out your retirement to pay for your kids' college because in the end, you're very poor. Guess what? You're on welfare again. You are relying on the government. So they don't want to they don't want you to take out your 401k for, guess what? For the college planning. That's why they purposely excluded investment for such as 401k, right? But guess what? Again, life insurance and annuity, you don't have to count against you in the financial aid. And that is an awesome information everybody need to know, right? So besides this, right, I already overextended my training. I'm sorry about this, right? But then I have something I want to wrap up, right? Again, right, today it's sharing with you some information, some general concept, right? Is this suitable for everybody? My idea is that you gotta have some life insurance, right? Because if you have family member, you gotta protect the one that you love. Even if you don't have family member, right? Leave something behind that can change the world, right? You can have a charity, you can have a trust, you can have a for your scholarship account, whatever you do. Even you don't have kids, right? Buy lots of life insurance, change the beneficiary to those organization that can leave them, leave the money, leave the world in a better place. I want to give you some real example on life insurances, right? So I don't, right now it's 11:12, right? I want to finish up with several actual claims out there. So you can see that we are changing the world for a better place, right? For example, accident happens all the time, right? You buy life insurance because we don't know when we're going to pass away, okay? I want to show you a client, a real client in our team, Dream Builder team, right? Male, 41 years old. He's a business owner of a cleaning business, right? Small business owner, okay? And then he actually, because he wanted to protect his family, right? He has kids, right? So he bought a policy on $750,000 total, right? And then because he has limited of funding, so he wants to buy some term policy, right? Just in case he prematurely died too early. So he bought a 20-year term with living benefit, but he also bought a Index Universal Life called the Financial Foundation Index Universal Life, IUL, because he also knows that when the term is gone, he wants to save cash value, he wants to grow. So in case when he passes away or he needs long-term care, when he grow old, even the term expires, then he has a permanent life insurance that will last him for as long as he will live. He bought 2 policies, total about $750. Guess what? Unfortunately, things do happen for him, right? And not in a good way, okay? The policy enforced in October 2018. Nobody buy life insurance because they want to die early. We buy life insurance because we don't know, and we care, and we're responsible. We care about our heirs or our beneficiary, or our kids, our family members, right? He bought it out of love for their family. Unfortunately, car accident happens in September 2019. And this was actually on newspaper, right? 11th month later, okay? a motorcycle speed up at 100 miles chase by police. Okay, so police was chasing somebody who is doing like 100 miles per hour, right? And then guess what? The vehicle ran into the client's car. So the guy, 41 years old male, by that time he's like 42, right? He was waiting for a red light, sitting there doing nothing, waiting for a red light, but a vehicle hit the car 100 miles per hour. The impact was so hard that it flipped the client's car into air a couple of times. I want you to picture that, right? Landing and an explosion and a sudden death for both. For I think at the time the father, the male, 41 years old, 42 years old then, right? Right, he was there, and also one of his children was in a car with him. Car flipped, exploded. Hey, accident happens, right? It could happen to any of us. I can be talking here right now with you today. I might be dead tomorrow. Life is no guarantee, and life is uncertain, right? But luckily, even with this tragic event, right? Guess what? We filed a claim for him. Unfortunately, because they bought a policy, right? Any policy who bought with the first 2 years, right? First 2 years, there's something called the incontestability period, meaning that it's called the contestability period, because insurance company need to make sure, right? If you die within 2 years of the policy, they need to make sure that you didn't die from suicide. So how do you know you didn't die from suicide? The police report has to close. So the police report closed 4 months after the accidents. So the claim paid in January 2020 after the investigation from the police department, right? And then they did not get paid $500,000 and $250,000. They get paid more than $500,000 and $250,000. Why? Because when you file the claim, there's gonna be interest earned every single day for insurance company don't pay out the death benefit. So what does that mean? That means that insurance company, they do want to pay out the death benefit as fast as possible. If they don't pay out, by law, they have to give you interest rate on the daily basis on the money they don't get paid. Okay, I don't know about the rest of the world, how they work, but that's how they work in the US. If you don't believe me, let me show you the actual check in the next slides, right? But final thoughts, let me give you the final thoughts first, right? The client left the wife and the son, continued the business and pay off the loan. Also, COVID-19 caused their business to slow down, right? So the claim money was also help to sustain their lifestyle, right? Here is one of the check. Right, this was offered sent by Transamerica, right? The check looks like this, and this is a real check, right? You can cash out. So this when they received the check day, right? January 13th of 2020, right? This is the term policy, right? They have the $500,000 term, but they don't pay out $500,000. It's more than half. They pay out extra 1674.65. Why? Because the death benefit they show you, the claim was filed in September 14, 2019. They have to refund some of the premium because, they probably paid the September premium, but because they die early, so they refund you to the day of the die, because they don't cover you the remaining of the time out of September, so they refund the premium back to you. But on top of that, the claim interest, because they want to delay, but they do need to wait for the police report to finish. It was about 4 months later, so they pay you extra interest of 1657.59. I want to show you this because life insurance company, they do want to pay out this as fast as possible. Okay, that's the term. Did they pay out IUL? The index universal life, absolutely, right? The IUL, they pay 589.35 because the death benefit, this because what is $250,000 and the cash value. They have cash value inside growing them already, and they have the claim interest and right. So the total, so they pay out the 589.35. Life insurance does pay. You gotta know that, right? And you gotta know that we are helping family. Without us, this family of 4, they're devastated, especially when the COVID-19 hits. Cleaning business, right? Office shut down. Houses, nobody entered the houses. How can the cleaning business survive? They can. Unluckily, these events happen, but luckily, the father is very responsible because the breadwinner bought the policy, and now they're covered, luckily, right? The other case I want to share with you. Life events happens. Cancer does happen to us, right? Unfortunately, it does happen, right? Female, 35 years old. Nobody buy life insurance when they're young thinking that they want to get cancer or they will get cancer. We just don't know. We may look healthy right now. We just don't know what we're going to be looking like years later, right? 35 years old, super healthy female, bought the policy, right? She's a corporate finance, so she knows her numbers, right? Bought a policy on a 300,000 IUL from Transamerica, right? And then they use the policy to fund a lot of money. So this was a case a little bit older, 2006. 2006 bought the policy, but this lady, unfortunately, life event happens, right? In 2015, ovarian cancer happens to her approximately 9 years later when she bought the policy since 2006. Again, nobody bought a policy because they think that they will have cancer. We just don't know, right? She was healthy then. She exercised. She's eat healthy. She's on good diets. We just don't know if these things happen to us, right? The client finds out she is her last stage of ovarian cancer in 2014. Although she fought a hard battle in the hospital, she passed away a year later, unfortunately, right? The claim was filed in October 8th. Oh, sorry, the claim was filed 3 weeks before and came back in 3 weeks later, which is October 8th in 2015. Because this is after 2 years of contestability period, right? So that they pay out very fast. As long as you do your paperwork correctly, and then you have the hospital's death certificate, right? They pay out very, very fast, right? So they pay out extra interest of, $532,000, right? So sorry, $532, right? And then guess what? Their beneficiary is in China. The mother she's overseas student, right? And then start working here on an H1 visa, right? And then passed away. Their family was in China. The beneficiary, the mom was in China, right? And guess what? The check was mailed to China and deposited successfully in China. So yes, they can pay out the death benefit overseas. It will be credit you on the overseas accounts, right? So final thoughts, right? The money provided a peace of mind for her mother. At the time, the mother is retired at 73 years old with no husband. With this fund, the family in China was able to provide much better care for her mother and for her rest of her life. I don't know about you. When I see cases like this happens, although I'm very sad for this family, right, for her, but I know that we're doing the right thing. We're taking care of the family, one family at a time, and that is why, right? We might not be the people who doing out there, right? Who maybe have invented